Well, good afternoon, my friends, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman out here at my shooting bench on an absolutely glorious fall day with another one of my 22 rimfire series videos. What I've got for you today is another Marlin. This one here I picked up about a week ago. This is the Marlin XT-22. It's not as old as most of the 22 rimfires that I normally feature on my channel, such as this Marlin Model 80. This is an old timer here, folks. But I showed you this little rifle back in the summertime when I got it, and it's a great shooter. I mean, absolutely wonderful little rifle. Now, the Marlin XT-22 was first introduced in 2011, and there were several different configurations. They were chambered in 22 Magnum, also in 17 HMR. They came with different stock designs, different stock materials. This one here has a walnut finished hardwood stock. I think it's either beech or birch. I think this one's made out of beech. And some of them were synthetic stocked, and you know, just all different types. Now they also came out with a different loading system. This one here has a box type magazine. This one's a 7-shot steel box type magazine. They also came with a tubular magazine. And the little rifle, you know, is a great little shooter actually for the price. They're relatively inexpensive compared to a lot of other 22s that are available, but they're good little shooters. This one here came out with the ProFire trigger system, which is very similar to the AccuTrigger that was released by Savage. It's adjustable, and this little rifle here also sports a 22-inch barrel that is micro groove rifled with a 1 in 16 twist, and it's relatively accurate. So today we're going to test it out with some CCI standard velocity, and we may even take it in the woods this fall and do a little squirrel hunting with it. So we're going to test it with some of this Ely Subsonic hollow point. Now the XT-22 series replaced the 925 rifle that had the JM stamp, and it was made in Connecticut. This one here was made in Mayfield, Kentucky, as you can see there on the barrel. I think that shows up. And then in 2020, when Ruger took over Marlin, it was discontinued. So these are still available. You can find them at gun shows or pawn shops. They're not as common as, say, your Marlin Model 60 or the 1022 made by Ruger, but you know, they're still out there. And I got this one for a really good bargain from a good friend of mine that offered it to me at a reasonable price. So I jumped on it because I knew it would make a good rifle for my videos, and especially for my 22 rimfire series. So I've got some targets set up down here. The first one here is at 50 yards. We're going to shoot a 5-shot group with the CCI standard velocity, and then we'll shoot a 5-shot group with this Ely and see how well this little rifle can actually shoot. So let me get the camera focused downrange, and we'll see how well this gun performs. Alright folks, I got 5 rounds loaded in this steel magazine. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on that 50-yard target down there. And this is a 5-shot group. First shot is on a clean barrel. Okay. So here we go. I'll be shooting at the target on top first. It's 5 shots at 50 yards. Okay, I'm going to load 5 more. Now that the barrel's leaded in, we're going to shoot at that bottom target. Sometimes it takes a few shots for a gun to get settled in, get the barrel conditioned, and get everything settled down. So let's take 5 more shots at that bottom target. Same distance, same ammunition. All right, that's grouping just a little bit to the right, but pretty consistent. Okay folks, now I got 5 rounds of this Ely hollow point subsonic ammo loaded up, and we're going to see how well it performs at 50 yards. So there you can see 2 targets that are pinned up. We'll go ahead and get loaded up here, and we'll take our first shot at the top target. Here we go. Okay, after seeing that group, I don't need to shoot anymore. I think we're pretty well satisfied with the accuracy of this little rifle. Okay, my friends, to say the least, I'm very well pleased with the accuracy of this little rifle. Now we're going to have a little fun. We're going to shoot down there at 60 yards at some of those steel targets. And we'll see how well it performs at that distance using CCI standard velocity 22 long rifle ammunition. Okay, I've got 7 rounds loaded up in this magazine, and we're going to go ahead and take a few shots. First of all, we're going to knock out that squirrel on the far left. Okay, now we're going to aim for that bunny rabbit, see if we can make a headshot on him. Okay, now we got the squirrel just to the right. I'll tell you what, instead of aiming at that target, I'm going to aim for his head. Okay, now for those targets on the bottom. Let me shoot that prairie dog first. He's got a little bitty target on his head there. All right, let's go for that big target on the far left. Now for the next target over. Rock solid hit. Okay, now for that little bitty target there. That thing's only like a ½ an inch wide. Ah, that was a miss. Okay, let's try it again here. All right, that was a hit. I think it dropped just a little bit at that distance. Okay, now we got that big target on the far right. No problem. Now we've got a steel target with 4 little bitty targets on it. I think you can see that. We'll shoot at the top one first. I'll tell you what, let's shoot at the bottom one. Let's shoot at the bottom one first. Not sure where that one hit. I heard steel. Need to load up 5 more rounds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tell you what, this is a fun little gun to shoot. Loads well, ejects well, have no problems with it. All right, let's try that top target. Okay, knock that one off of there. Knocked the bottom one off too. I think it was just hanging by a little bit there. All right, let's go for the one on the right, that little bitty target. I think it knocked my steel plate back. Let's see if we can dislodge it. All right. Well, that's one good way to end. Let's see, I got 1 round left. That old bunny rabbit's still standing. Let's see if we can plant another one right on his head, right between his ears. All right. That's rabbit for supper, folks. A fitting end to today's target shooting because today is the opening day of rabbit season here in Tennessee. Well, my friends, to say that I'm absolutely delighted with the performance of this little Marlin bolt action would be an understatement, because I was quite surprised after I looked at the groups how well this little gun shot. And it's a rock solid little rifle. I didn't pay much for it, just a little over $100. Then I topped it off with this Lyman 4-power scope, and getting great groups out of 2 different types of ammunition. And as you can see, it's all wood and steel construction. The barrel slightly tapers from the muzzle all the way back to the receiver. No plastic parts here. And the trigger guard is made out of metal. I think this is aluminum, to be honest with you, but it's not plastic. The safety is right where it needs to be, right up here. You know, if you get ready to take a shot, you can just flip it off and you're right on target. The bolt is very positive functioning. It has a generous amount of steel right here that locks up right into the receiver here. 22s, whether it's 22 Magnums, 22 long rifle, or even the 17 HMR, doesn't really generate that much pressure, so that locking lug right there is plenty to keep that gun locked up safely. And the steel magazine, this is a 7-shot magazine, so you know, plenty of firepower there for any hunting situation. If you get in a walnut grove or in a hickory stand or something where there's lots of squirrels, you got plenty of follow-up shots. You know, you can shoot your limit of squirrels pretty quickly with this gun without using much ammunition, especially looking at some of these groups that I've got here. The receiver does come grooved and drilled and tapped for scope mounts, so that's impressive, you know. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it has this Profire adjustable trigger right here. And This one here breaks at a very crisp 3 pounds. It's adjustable from about 2.5, 2 3/4 up to 6 pounds. And it's very positive functioning, very consistent. I knew right when it was going to break each time. And the barrel is very accurate. The bolt locks up tight. You know, the wood is, I think, birch. I believe this is birch, which is a very solid type of wood. It is stained, lightly stained, to simulate walnut, but it's not really. I mean, walnut is much darker, as you can see from this gun here. This is real American walnut. And most older guns, even though they were 22s, came with a walnut stock. That was just standard issue back then. Now personally, I like a wooden stock. You know, whether it's walnut, maple, beech or birch, or even a laminated stock. Preferably I like a walnut stock, American walnut especially, but I just like a wooden stock because in my opinion guns ought to be made out of wood and steel. That's just the way I came up, and I think most of you would be in agreement with me on that, and that I would speak on behalf of a lot of people that are watching my channel, because most of you are about my age or maybe even a little bit older. But that's just the way you came up. You know, you had guns that were made out of wood and steel, and that's what the XT-22 is. You know, it's all wood, all steel. And that's kind of unusual for a modern day gun, unless you spend a lot of money anymore. But, you know, speaking of spending a lot of money on especially 22s, you've got to spend quite a bit to get accuracy like this. You know, that kind of accuracy, that doesn't come cheap in most cases. In this case, it did. Now, granted, that was the first 5-shot group at 50 yards. That was the first shot. And then I believe the second shot hit quite a bit lower. I think that was the second shot. I'll have to go back and watch the video. But then subsequently, all the other shots clustered together like this right here, where they're all touching. And then I shot another 5-shot group using this CCI standard velocity ammunition. And I got that group right there. You know, that's a pretty darn good group. And as you can see, I can easily cover that with a penny. Easily. In fact, I think I can cover that with a dime. At 50 yards, that's nothing to sneeze at, folks. That's great accuracy, especially out of a fairly inexpensive 22 like this. And then I switched over to this Ely Subsonic hollow point ammunition, and I got that group. And what you saw is exactly the way it happened out here. You know, that's 50 yards from right here at this table, shooting off of a sandbag rest that's sitting on a plywood platform here. But as you can see, once again, easily covered with a penny. Now granted, I did move the sights over 2 clicks because I was shooting a little bit to the right with that other ammo. So I adjusted the scope 2 clicks to the left, and it pretty well centered up like that. But that right there is a shot at a squirrel's head every time, or a rabbit, or whatever else you're after. And I'll tell you what, you know, if you haven't tried this ammunition, this is really good stuff. This is good ammunition, and it's currently available new. It's very consistent, and it has a very generous hollow point there, as you can see. I think you can see that, if I can capture that. Good looking round. And I'll tell you what, it does quite a number on small game. You know, there's a lot of 22s that would struggle to shoot groups like that at 50 yards. I know, because I've shot them. I've shot lots of 22s in my time. And I've got some that'll shoot a little better than that, but anytime I run across a 22 or any gun that'll shoot like that, it's a keeper, folks. It's a tack driver, as I mentioned. You know, that deserves a tack driver status all day long. So with that being said, I think I'll go ahead and close out this video and wish you well. thanks a lot for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you are looking for a good, accurate 22 and you don't want to spend a lot of money, then I would probably recommend something like this Marlin XT. They're still available. There's not as many of these made as, for example, the Marlin Model 60, like I mentioned earlier. But, you know, if you get out and just browse around and look, you should be able to find a good one for yourself in any configuration. If you like a synthetic stock, then, you know, these were available with synthetic stock. So you just have to get out and find one that suits you. So anyway, folks, thanks again for coming along. I do appreciate it very much. And remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, whatever your outdoor pursuit happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. But also remember this, hit that like button, smash that bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, y'all take good care of yourselves and get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. I'll be seeing you.